Did you know Japan has over 90,000 people living past 100? That is more centenarians per capita than any other nation on Earth. Now compare that to the United States, where billions are spent every year on gym memberships, supplements, and the latest wellness apps. Yet many still face chronic disease, stiff joints, and fading memory after 50. What makes this so fascinating is that longevity in Japan cannot be explained by sushi, green tea, or genetics alone. Researchers looking at elders in Kyoto, many still sharp and mobile in their late 90s, found that their daily rhythm of simple body movements played a far greater role than outsiders ever imagined. It was not about expensive fitness routines or endless willpower, but about consistent, natural actions that reconnected the body and the brain. From my perspective, the real lesson is mindset. In Western culture, aging is often seen as a battle to fight and resist. In Japan, it is seen as a flow to move with wisely. These movements are not glamorous or intense, yet they quietly reshape balance, circulation, and independence. What strikes me is that the very simplicity that once made doctors dismiss them is exactly what allows older adults to sustain them year after year. So if you are over 50 and beginning to notice stiffness in your knees or a fog settling over your focus, pay attention. You are about to hear how 6 ancient daily habits may help you age like the Japanese, clear, balanced, and strong, without pills, gyms, or sweat. Number 6. The art of slow walking. Sampo. Forget everything you know about walking for exercise. This is not about speed, burning calories, or chasing a daily step count. It is about slowing down, paying attention, and letting each step become part of your awareness. In Japan, elders often treat walking as a daily meditation, a way to bring body and mind into sync before the day begins. What makes Sampo unique is the rhythm. You walk at half your normal pace, breathing in a steady pattern that links each inhale and exhale to your steps. At first glance, it may look almost pointless. Yet when you slow down, your feet connect fully with the ground, rolling from heel to toe in a way that awakens stabilizing muscles most of us forget we even have. The body relearns balance in small, deliberate moments. I find this fascinating because it challenges how we think of fitness. Many people assume that harder, faster, and longer are the only ways to improve. But research from universities in Kyoto shows that slow walking reduces stiffness in arteries and helps seniors maintain posture like someone 20 years younger. That is not from pushing harder, but from practicing smarter. There is also a mental dimension. When you walk slowly and match your breathing, your nervous system calms down. Stress levels drop, blood pressure eases, and the mind clears. I have seen people who normally rush through their morning walks transform their entire mood by slowing to this gentle rhythm. It becomes less about the destination and more about the journey itself. If you want to try it, start small. Just 10 minutes in the morning, preferably on grass, soil, or another natural surface. Uneven ground wakes up even more muscles, teaching your body to adapt. You do not need headphones, a stopwatch, or a fitness app. All you need is a willingness to go slower than feels natural and to notice how your body responds. After a few weeks, many report feeling steadier, calmer, and surprisingly more energetic. That is why I see Sampo not only as a physical exercise, but also as a cultural practice. It reflects a way of living that values patience, mindfulness, and harmony with the environment. In a world that pushes us to rush, this ancient habit invites us to pause. And perhaps that pause is the very thing that allows Japanese elders to age with such grace. Number 5. Radio Taiso. The 3-minute morning ritual that moves a nation. Every morning in Japan, millions of people begin their day not with the news or weather, but with gentle movement set to music. This practice started nearly a century ago, yet it continues to shape the health and energy of entire communities. What looks like a light routine of stretches and bends is actually a tradition that connects generations and reminds us that exercise does not have to be complicated to work. The beauty of Radio Taiso is that it is short, simple, and inclusive. In cities like Yokohama, you will see children, office workers, and older adults alike pausing at 6:30 in the morning to follow along. No gym clothes, no pressure, no competition. Just 3 minutes of rhythmic motions done together. The idea is not to break a sweat, but to awaken the joints, get blood flowing, and prepare the body for the day. That sense of community participation may be just as valuable as the physical benefit. I think one reason this works so well is consistency. When something takes only 3 minutes, it becomes almost impossible to make excuses. Unlike a 1-hour workout that can feel intimidating, Radio Taiso is short enough to weave into daily life and long enough to loosen stiff muscles. Over time, the small gains build into real change. Studies have shown fewer falls and less chronic pain among older adults who do it daily. But even without the numbers, the lived experience is obvious. People who practice it move with greater ease. From a cultural point of view, it is also fascinating. In many Western countries, exercise is often treated as an individual pursuit. We jog alone, lift weights alone, and track our progress with apps. In Japan, this tradition flips the idea. Movement is social, shared, and woven into the rhythm of everyday life. That togetherness creates motivation and accountability without pressure. You move because everyone around you is moving too, and that turns exercise into something joyful instead of a chore. For those of us outside Japan, there is something to learn here. Imagine what would happen if neighborhoods in New York, Dallas, or Miami began the morning with a 3-minute stretch together. It could improve not only health, but also connection, something many communities feel is missing today. It may sound idealistic, but the Japanese example proves it can be done. If you want to try it on your own, you do not need a broadcast. Just set a timer in the morning and move through a series of simple stretches, arm circles, side bends, gentle squats. Keep the movements light and continuous, almost like dancing slowly. The key is rhythm, not intensity. Do it barefoot in your kitchen or even in pajamas. What matters most is showing up each day. For me, Radio Taiso shows that the secret to healthy aging is not about chasing the perfect workout, but about finding rituals that last. The short routine is a reminder that consistency beats intensity, and community can make the simplest actions feel meaningful. It is proof that sometimes the smallest daily practices can create the biggest long-term results. Number 4. Deep squat rest. The lost human posture. In many parts of Japan, you can still see men and women in their 70s or 80s comfortably sitting in a squat, while chatting with neighbors, sipping tea, or even pruning small plants. To outsiders, this may look like an exercise, but for them, it is simply another way of resting. That difference in daily posture may explain why so many of them keep strong hips and flexible joints late into life. The reality is that chairs have shaped the way most of us move in the West. From childhood classrooms to office desks, we are trained to sit in a 90-degree angle for hours each day. The squat posture slowly disappeared, and with it went the ability to bend deeply without pain. When people try it again after years of chair living, they often find their heels lift, their knees ache, or their back rounds forward. It is not weakness alone. It is a skill we stopped practicing. What makes the deep squat fascinating is how many systems it supports at once. Holding this position strengthens the pelvic floor, which is vital for bladder control and balance. It decompresses the spine, keeping back muscles from locking up. It also forces the ankles and hips to use their full range of motion, nourishing joints and keeping circulation alive in areas that usually stiffen after 50. In other words, it is not just sitting closer to the ground. It is reactivating natural functions that modern furniture has stolen from us. I remember seeing this clearly when traveling through small towns in rural Asia. Children could drop into a squat with ease, stay there for half an hour, and jump up again without effort. Elders, too, could squat for long conversations without strain. Meanwhile, many people my age from the United States struggled to hold it for 10 seconds. That contrast showed me that losing the squat was not about age, but about lifestyle. The research backs this up. Long-term studies following older adults in Japan suggest that those who could remain in a squat for at least 2 minutes had a dramatically lower risk of needing assisted living. To me, that is not surprising. If you can rest on the ground and rise again with control, it means your muscles, balance, and coordination are still working together. That skill can be the line between staying independent or relying on others. If you want to relearn this posture, patience is essential. Start by using a wall or holding onto a sturdy chair. If your heels lift off the ground, place a rolled towel beneath them. Stay in the position for 20 or 30 seconds and repeat a few times each day. Over time, the body adapts, the joints loosen, and the position feels more natural. It is not about chasing perfection. It is about reminding your body of something it already knew. In the end, the deep squat is less about stretching and more about reconnecting with human design. It is a way of telling your body, this is how you were built to move and rest. Once you reclaim it, you may never want to sit the same way again. Number 3. Single leg standing. Balance that builds the brain. At first it might sound too simple. Just stand on one foot for a short while. But in Japan, doctors often recommend this as part of everyday healthcare, and research has shown it is far more powerful than it looks. What appears to be a childlike game is actually a quiet test of how well the body and brain are aging together. When you lift one foot and balance, the body makes constant micro-adjustments. Your ankles tighten, your hips shift, your core engages, and your nervous system fires messages at lightning speed to keep you upright. At the same time, areas of the brain linked to coordination and memory light up. That is why scientists now believe that balance is not just about preventing falls, it is about keeping the mind sharp too. I think what makes this practice remarkable is how practical it is. You do not need to carve out an extra block of time or buy equipment. Japanese elders often do it while brushing their teeth or waiting for water to boil. By turning a daily routine into a balance drill, they build resilience without even thinking about it. That habit is something anyone can copy, no matter where they live. The statistics are impressive. Long-term studies in universities in Fukuoka have shown significantly fewer hip fractures and hospitalizations among people who practice single-leg standing. But beyond the numbers, the real takeaway is independence. Being able to stand steady on one leg is like a signal that your body still listens to your brain. It means reflexes are intact, muscles are responsive, and confidence in movement is preserved. For me, the beauty lies in its simplicity. Western culture tends to overcomplicate fitness with expensive gear, complex routines, and long hours of training. Yet here we have a movement that takes less than a minute, requires no sweat, and delivers benefits that rival advanced workouts. It is a reminder that aging well does not have to be complicated. It has to be consistent. If you want to start, safety is key. Stand near a counter or wall, lift 1 foot an inch or two, and focus your gaze forward. Begin with 20 seconds, then build up gradually. Once you feel steady, you can make it harder by closing your eyes or standing on a folded towel. Each variation challenges your brain to adapt in new ways. That adaptability, known as neuroplasticity, is essential for keeping the mind flexible as we age. In the end, standing on one leg is more than balance training. It is brain training, independence training, and life training. 1 minute at a time, it teaches the body to respond, the brain to stay alert, and the spirit to remain confident. Number 2, floor sitting transitions. Your daily longevity test. In Japan, it is common to see families eating meals, drinking tea, or even watching television while sitting on the floor. Because of this cultural habit, people get up and down dozens of times a day without even thinking about it. What looks ordinary to them is actually one of the best natural tests of strength, flexibility, and coordination. The act of lowering yourself to the floor and rising back up sounds basic, but it demands more from the body than most realize. It calls on the core muscles, engages the hips, stabilizes the knees, and asks your brain to plan every small adjustment in real time. Researchers from Tsukuba University followed older adults who could perform this task with little support, and found they lived longer and moved with greater ease than those who struggled. It was not just about physical ability. It reflected how well the nervous system and the muscles continued to cooperate. I find this especially interesting when I think about how many Western homes are designed. We sit on couches, recliners, and chairs, rarely using the floor for daily living. Over time, the body forgets how to transition naturally, and when someone finally tries, the movement feels awkward or even risky. That contrast shows how environment shapes our aging. In places like Tokyo, where floor sitting is normal, people unintentionally train themselves to maintain independence into their 80s and 90s. What this really teaches us is that independence is built in small choices. The day you can no longer get off the floor by yourself is often the day you lose confidence in living alone. That is why this movement is such a powerful predictor of aging well. It reveals not only muscle strength, but also balance, mobility, and coordination, all skills that tend to decline silently after 50 if we do not use them. If you want to reintroduce this habit, patience and safety matter. Begin by kneeling with the help of a low stool or chair, then gradually practice rising back up with less support. Use a carpet or yoga mat to protect your joints. Even 2 or 3 repetitions a day can slowly build noticeable improvements. The key is not to force it, but to remind your body how it once moved naturally. What I like most is how this practice bridges both the physical and the mental. On the one hand, it strengthens your body. On the other, it teaches you resilience, the kind that says, I can still take care of myself. That confidence has enormous value, because aging gracefully is not just about living longer. It is about living on your own terms, with dignity and self-reliance intact. Number 1, towel twist. The 2-minute movement that rewires your body. At first glance, it looks almost laughably simple. Just hold a towel, create some tension, and rotate your torso. Yet, this humble ritual, still practiced by many elders in Osaka and Nagano, is credited as one of the most powerful daily habits for keeping both body and brain young. What makes it unique is not the towel itself, but how the movement activates muscles and nerves that ordinary workouts rarely reach. When you pull the towel outward, your deep stabilizer muscles wake up. These are the small groups of muscles that protect the spine, keep the shoulders aligned, and connect the upper and lower body. Most gym exercises target large, visible muscles, but the stabilizers quietly decide how well you move. By twisting with controlled tension, you teach these muscles to fire, protecting your joints and improving posture. It is like upgrading the body's operating system in just a few minutes. The science behind it is striking. Brain imaging studies show that this twisting motion engages both hemispheres at the same time. That means it is not just strengthening the core, it is exercising memory, coordination, and reaction speed. For seniors in their 70s or 80s, that kind of brain activation is priceless. In fact, long-term studies suggest that people who practice this ritual have better grip strength, denser bones, and even live years longer than peers who ignore it. What I love most about the towel twist is accessibility. You do not need a gym, weights, or complicated instructions. A simple dish towel or bath towel is enough. You can do it in the morning before coffee or at night before bed. That flexibility makes it sustainable, and sustainability is the hidden key to aging well. A routine that feels easy is a routine you will actually keep. There is also a symbolic side here. Twisting the towel is almost like wringing out tension from the day. As your body rotates and your breath slows, your nervous system calms. It feels less like a workout and more like a reset. This dual effect, strengthening the body while soothing the mind, shows why such a modest exercise has endured for generations. If you want to try it, start by holding a towel at shoulder height. Pull outward gently as if you are trying to tear it in half. Keep the arms steady while you rotate slowly to the right. Pause, then return to center and repeat to the left. Do not rush. 2 minutes is all it takes. What matters most is consistency. Over time, you may notice stronger balance, clearer focus, and even more confidence in your daily movements. For me, the towel twist captures the essence of Japanese longevity practices. It is short, approachable, and deceptively powerful. It reminds us that aging well does not require expensive solutions. Sometimes, all you need is a towel, a few minutes, and the willingness to move with purpose. Aging well is not about chasing perfection or trying to turn back the clock. It is about making choices that let you stay mobile, clear-minded, and independent for as long as life allows. The 6 Japanese movements we explored are not workouts in the modern sense. They are natural actions that reconnect you with how the body was designed to move. What stands out most is the philosophy behind them. Instead of fighting aging with strain and resistance, the Japanese flow with it intelligently. They choose simple, sustainable habits that add up over years. You do not need fancy equipment or endless willpower, just consistency and intention. Start with one movement, even just a minute a day. That single choice can ripple into stronger balance, better focus, and more vitality. Aging is not something to fear. It is something you can shape with purpose.